Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on MisplacedStraws.com, where music comes to life. And it's hard to believe that May 16th was the 10th anniversary of the passing of the late, great Ronnie James Dio. And there were a number of tributes that came out, but one that definitely stands out is Monsters and Heroes. It was originally recorded back in 2017 by Carmine and Vinny Appice on their record Sinister, but a new lockdown edition of the video was released to commemorate the 10th anniversary, and Vinny is joining me here to talk about it. Welcome, Vinny.
Hi, how you doing, Jeff? Good to be here.
Thank you. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years, first of all, and for the song Monsters and Heroes, mentioned was originally on your Sinister record. Ron Keel wrote the lyrics.
No. Paul Shortino wrote the lyrics.
Oh, Paul Shortino. That's right.
Yeah.
My bad. How'd you first come up with the idea for a tribute song for Ronnie?
Well, I watching the internet and even on TV and seeing all these videos people are doing, I thought that's pretty cool, and that's a good idea to do this. It'd be nice to do one of these, and how could we do it? And then I thought, well, Ronnie's anniversary was coming up, 10 years, and we have a song called Monsters and Heroes that's about Ronnie. So that's even better, And so I told Carmine, I said, why don't we do one of those, virus videos and do it with the Monsters and Heroes, release it, on Ronnie's anniversary, and we can pay tribute to him. So he loved the idea. And then the band that's in that video, that's the band we use live. And luckily, it's a kick-ass band, but luckily the guitar player, R.D. Dillon, he really knows his video and he knows his audio, and he's got the tools, to put the video together. So,
and they are a really good band. I want to give us the rest of the band as well, so people know who they're watching.
Yeah, the rest of the band, James Caputo on bass, Jim Crean from Buffalo on vocals. He's done a number of solo records and stuff. And R.D. Dillon on guitar. And it's a great band. That's the band we use live.
And that's also the band, those the same guys that recorded the Sinister record as well?
No, the Sinister record, we had a lot of different people on that record, a lot of different names on that record. So it was kind of like all our friends and that. And they were on a couple of the songs, but not all of them. And
now, did working with these guys kind of bring a spark? Will we see a record with this band, or is this just kind of for the tribute song?
It's right now it's for live gigs and the tribute song. And we're putting together some songs, and then we're going to shop, for some sort of a record deal. Then we can maybe put together another album. But I think we might do one more of these videos. We'll let this one sit for a while and put together another song and put it out, just like this. This has got a good reaction, and people like this stuff. So it might be a good idea to do one more,
Definitely. Now, the majority of your career has been closely aligned with Ronnie. How did it start? How did you first get that Sabbath gig during the Heaven and Hell tour?
Well, they were on tour, and Bill Ward he left the tour. And they were scheduled to play in Denver, and they had to cancel and postpone that gig. And then they came to L.A. for 4 days looking for a drummer. So somehow, I think somebody at Warner Brothers gave them my number, and they checked me out, and they called me and said, hey, you want to come down and meet Tony Iommi? We're looking for a drummer, and we heard your stuff. So, first thing would be come down and meet Tony. So I said, sure, man, that's great. So I went down and met Tony, and this was in California, in Hollywood, so it was close. I was living close there to Hollywood. And met Tony. We hit it off really well. And he invited me down the next day to go to the rehearsal. And then when I went down to the rehearsal, that's when I met Ronnie. I met Ronnie and Geezer Butler, and then Jeff Nichols, the guitar player. And then we started playing. First song we played was Neon Nights, and it all seemed to work well. So that's how I met Ron. Then we had 4 days to rehearse, and then there was this big gig in Hawaii at the stadium. So that was pretty crazy.
And, after Mob Rules and that tour, when that lineup kind of fell apart, was it a hard choice for you to either stick with Ronnie on his solo venture or to stay in the band, or was it something that was just kind of a natural choice?
Well, it was a hard choice because I had, basically a choice between playing with Black Sabbath, which is Tony and Geezer, or playing with Ronnie, and starting a new band in California. Tony and Geezer resided in England, so that was a long distance commute, let's say. So
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't. It was a hard choice because they were all friends. They were all good friends, and I love playing with Tony and Geezer and Ronnie as well. So I just thought it'd be easier to do it here in California with Ronnie. It'd be exciting, a new band. We can start it from the beginning. So it was a hard choice to make, but that's what my thought process was. So I just do it with Ronnie.
And as that first version of the Dio band was coming together, I mean, naturally you had played with Ronnie. The late Jimmy Bain on bass, had connections with Ronnie from the Rainbow days. Where did you guys find Vivian? Was it just sort of a casting call kind of thing?
No, Ronnie and I started rehearsing by ourselves. It was just the two of us. And the only thing we had really was parts of Holy Diver that we worked on. That's all we had. It wasn't a finished song or anything like that. And then we auditioned a couple of people from L.A., guitar players, and then Ronnie decided, well, I think I want to have an international flavor in the band, so because all the bands he's been with, Rainbow and Sabbath, were from Europe, UK, and so he wanted to keep that tradition. So he contacted Jimmy Bain, who lived in London, and I guess he asked him about guitar players. And Jimmy recommended Vivian Campbell because Vivian's band, Sweet Savage, opened for Jimmy's band somewhere. Jimmy, I think it was in Wild Horses. So Jimmy noticed how good Viv was. So that's how Viv got in the mix. And then we decided, let's fly to England and hook up with Jim. And Jimmy will call Viv and arrange it. And then we'll have, we can have a jam and see how it goes. So that's what we did. Ronnie and I flew to London, and it was pretty funny because we actually stayed in the same room, hotel room, and he would read all night. He would read, like he loved to read. He could read books in a day almost, And then he would read, and the light would be on, and it was 3 a.m, and I'm like, I can't sleep with the light on, man. That kind of shit. So it's pretty funny. And then we just had that jam, and it was really great. We taped it, and then we went back to the hotel, listened to it that night, and we decided Viv's the guy, and Jimmy too. It all fit.
I mean, there really was chemistry in that band. There was nothing like it. And after you guys had a lot of success with, that first incarnation of the band, as well as, a couple others after that, you left, and then eventually you and Ronnie hooked back up for Dehumanizer with the guys in Sabbath. What led to a reunion at that time of that lineup?
Well, what happened was Sabbath, they were together, Ronnie and Tony and Geezer and Cozy Powell on drums. Excuse me. The reason why Cozy was there was he's been playing with Tony and Sabbath before that.
The Tony Martin lineup.
Yeah, it's a whole different lineup. So that was natural to bring Cozy in at that point. And but it wasn't going well. Ronnie wasn't getting along with Cozy, and it was going slow, spending a lot of money. They had a good record deal, but they was, really spending a lot of money. And at one point, Cozy was horseback riding, and he fell off the horse and hurt himself. He broke his pelvis, so he couldn't play anymore. He had to heal. So now what do we do? Hey, let's call Vinny. Hey, I'm like the reliable call Vinny guy. So they call me. I fly over to England, and we start working, and everything was fine. Everybody got along, and it was quick. We got a lot done, and then ready to record the record. And Ronnie and I had to stay in England a lot. We'd fly over and stay for 3 weeks. We had a house that they rented, and we'd rehearse in the house, in the living room, which was funny, and put the album together. And then we did a tour, and then it broke up again.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really underrated record, too. I mean, Dehumanizer is
great record.
If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. It's a very underrated record. And
very heavy and dark.
Yes. Yeah.
Dark. Yeah. Very sad.
That kind of imploded at the end of the tour there, and everybody knows the whole story there with playing with Ozzy and Rob Halford and all that. But you again went back with Ronnie. What do you think it is about your partnership with him that was just so successful over the years?
Well, the success was from good music. When we put together Holy Diver, we were just having a great time doing it. All of us were young. We were just every night we would go to a rehearsal room and have a lot of fun. Yeah, it was like a boys' club almost, like going to the lodge or something. The men's club. But we go there and we tear up. We were at Sound City. We tear that place up. It was really crazy stuff we were doing there, and so that's the success. And then as far as Ronnie and I, we just got along really well. We had a lot in common, and musically we were on the same page with wanting to kick ass all the time. So that's why we stayed together.
And then eventually in the 2000s, everybody regrouped again as Heaven and Hell. I mean, were there any second thoughts to giving it a third try, or did you see it, because we got a new name now, it's a fresh start, and, we go out again?
Mm-hmm. Well, Heaven and Hell actually was started with Bill Ward, because Bill was playing with Tony at the time, and so it was, again, natural to do Heaven and Hell with Bill. And the way it started was the record company wanted to release the Dio Years record, which were all Sabbath songs from the Dio, with Dio on them. None of the old stuff. Rhino, I think, Rhino records. So that was the plan, and then the record company thought it would be really cool if they wrote a couple of new songs that would promote the record, people would buy it more, and that kind of thing. So they started doing that with Bill on drums, and it wasn't going that well. It was taking a long time from what I heard. And eventually, again, spending too much money, taking too much time, and eventually it came to, let's call Vinny.
When you write your book, there's your title right there. Let's call Vinny.
Just call Vinny. You need a drummer? Just call Vinny. So he called me. I flew over to England, and we started working on it, and it was, we had all the 3 songs recorded within a week, not even a week. So it was pretty easy with me, and then we had fun. We were having a good time, and then they decided to do a tour. The tour led to another album, The Devil You Know,
Yep.
and then that led to a tour. And then we were continuing in 2010 to do some, we were supposed to be doing some big festivals in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Ronnie got sick. And at the end of 2009, he was diagnosed with this cancer. So.
Yeah, and after we lost Ronnie, you got the original Dio band back together with Andrew Freeman on vocals and formed The Last in Line. And
right.
You guys have two really strong records out. Did you, at the beginning, did you see that band kind of morphing into an original band, or was it just, let's celebrate these songs we did with Ronnie?
No, it actually just started innocently enough with a phone call from Viv. He said, "Hey, I spoke to Jimmy. We're up for a jam. You want a jam?" And I haven't really stayed that much in touch with Viv here and there over the years. And he said they were up for a jam. I said, "Yeah, let's do it. It'll be fun." So we went in and played all the old Dio stuff. And we decided to do it again the next week. And that's when Andy Freeman was in town. He's a friend of mine. I played with him a long time ago on a George Lynch tour. And I was amazed how he could sing.
You're a great vocalist.
Oh, he's an amazing vocalist. But he was singing on George Lynch tour like 15 dates in a row and not blowing out, And I called him. I said, "Hey, why don't you come down? We're not far from where you are in the valley here in California, and sing a couple songs with us." So he came down, and he knew all the songs, and he blew everybody away. Just like Incredibles, the way he sang. Viv didn't know him before, and Viv was like, "Oh my God, this guy's great." So it was so great that we decided, why don't we do some dates, And then we hooked up with Steve Strange, our manager in Europe, and he booked a bunch of shows for us. We went to Japan, we went to Europe, and then we did some in California, and then he got us a record deal on Frontiers Records. That's when it became, oh, okay, well now we have to write together. We haven't done that in a while. So we started writing, Jimmy, different ways we wrote. We wrote with just Viv and I and Jimmy. Then when Andy was in town, he came down. We wrote that way, and we put that album together. And it came out really well, and it did. They released it, and it did pretty good, pretty well. And then we got an agent, and we started doing a lot of shows, So we never envisioned really doing it, becoming a real band, writing our own stuff and all that. It started off just as a fun thing to do, Otherwise, we probably would have called it something else. Last in Line was good for while we're playing some Dio stuff here.
Right. And, unfortunately, after that first record, we lost Jimmy Bain as well. And, but you guys regrouped with Phil Susan, and they're still going. Any chance of new music coming out?
Oh, yeah. We got half an album almost done, and then obviously it slowed down here for a couple of months. And now we're starting to kick up again and finish up the 6 songs we have, and then we've got things in the can of things we want to work on for the next half of the album. So hopefully we'll get it out by next year.
Looking forward to that, and get you guys back on the road again as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how originally it was meant just to kind of do those Dio songs, and then eventually started writing your own. I was actually reading just this morning that Claude Schnell, who's Dio's keyboard player and was in Last in Line for a while, recently is speaking out that he felt his dismissal from the band, as he put it, was like a little disingenuous. Was it more just, again, changing the sound from being a Dio band with keyboards to a guitar-based band?
Well, no, but Dio started out as a guitar-based band. Holy Die was guitar-based. And Ronnie wanted keyboard player because every other band he's been in had a keyboard player in it. And Ronnie liked the fact that when it was a guitar solo, the keyboard could be under there with chords, when guitar's off soloing. And then that led to, we did the Holy Diver tour. Claude came in, and he did that, And then when we do the second album, Ronnie brought Claude in on the album. There's only a couple of keyboard parts on that album.
Right.
There's not a lot. So it wasn't really supposed to be a keyboard band. And then, when we started this, we asked Claude to join the band. Excuse me. And then, there was some problems within, and not with me. I'm a good friend of Claude, but there were some problems and issues, and it wasn't going well. People change after 30 years.
Right.
So decided that, Claude's not going to be in the band. Okay. So we got somebody else in the band, Eric Norlander, to do keyboards, to play keyboards with us. And then that was going well for a while, but then that became a little bit of an issue too, and long and behold, Eric actually left the tour in the middle of it. We woke up,
wow.
We were supposed to we were in Vegas, and we were supposed to fly to Texas, 6 a.m, and wait in the lobby. Where's Eric? I don't know, but the road crew came down and said, he left last night. He packed his stuff and left. There was some issues between him and Phil, the bass player. So now we were like, oh shit, now what do we do? Well, we just went out and played 4-piece, and it was great, and we continued that, and you lost part of the big sound that keyboards had in certain parts, but eventually we got used to doing 4-piece. And we seem to be kicking more ass in 4-piece.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we stayed 4-piece, and we're just missing some of the little keyboard parts. There's not many keyboards on our albums. There's hardly any. I think there's one part of one song that there was some keyboards in it, but on our albums there's hardly anything. And so Dio had a little bit more, but that was it. But Claude's great. Claude's a great player and stuff, and
sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work.
Now, personally, to me, one of the great wrongs in music is that Ronnie isn't recognized at all by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It just blows my mind. But were you surprised when Ronnie and even yourself were left out of the Sabbath induction, and any thoughts on whether or not you ever see the Dio band making it in?
Well, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame suck anyway. It's supposed to be rock and roll. There's people in there that's not rock and roll one bit. And, just the way they do business, it took them that long to put Black Sabbath in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Black Sabbath started all this heavy stuff. Black Sabbath started the tuning down that affected everybody, and everybody copied it. And here's a band that started all this stuff, and yet they weren't in it. So I wasn't expecting them to induct Ronnie and I. It's like they should have, but they didn't. So I think they suck. I went there once. It was a friggin' joke. And Ronnie should have been in there even by himself.
Yeah, in one form or another.
Inducted.
Yeah, whether on his own, with Sabbath, with Rainbow, there's no reason he shouldn't be there.
He's in all these major bands and major albums, and he's not in that. He should have been in there. I don't even care if they didn't induct Dio. If they did the band Dio, but if they should have did him and mentioned us, that would have been nice. I mean, Holy Dive is 37 years old and is still selling. You know,
rainbow sounds amazing.
Still going.
Yep.
So that's a joke. That whole thing, you know.
And now, recognizing that the whole world is kind of on pause, and there's no touring or recording coming up in the near future, any idea what's next for you when all this does open up again?
Well, I've been doing a lot of stuff at home, thankfully, and I got a studio at home. I've been doing a lot of sessions and some projects. This band called the Resurrection Kings that I did the album with, actually with Craig Goldie, and we're doing a second one, so I'm finishing a couple of tracks for that. So I'm keeping really busy, and then putting this video together was really a fun thing. It took a couple of weeks to do it. So we're thinking maybe we'll do another video, Carmine and I, because we have all the resources to do it now. We did the first one. So maybe we'll put another one out when this one, settles in. And as far as everything else, all the gigs have been pushed back. I'm supposed to go to Europe and South America, which is pushed back to November. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not,
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see even for that. But anyway,
I think everybody's booking agent is the Center for Disease Control.
Exactly.
Somebody mentioned that. I forgot who, but it was really funny.
But again, the song is Monsters and Heroes. You can check it out on YouTube. A great tribute for the 10th anniversary of the passing of Ronnie James Dio. Vinny, I can't thank you enough for taking some time here. It's really been an honor to talk to you and get into your history a little bit.
Thank you.
I look forward to new music from Last in Line and Resurrection Kings, and hopefully catching you on the road sometime in the next year or so.
Yeah. I'm also going to be doing some, we're putting together with my drum company, the name of the company is Sawtooth Drums, and we're going to put together some video stuff online since we're all locked down, and really cool drum stuff. So we're working on that too. So stay tuned.
Definitely. Well, let me know when you get stuff up, and we'll get the links out to everybody.
Okay. That'd be great.
I appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll talk again on the road sometime soon.
All right. You take care. Be safe. Thank you.
Thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.